Hi guys, welcome to the session on Coffee with Prabh. And I won't say Coffee with Prabh. Now, this time we say Coffee with Urvesh. This guy did the two podcasts with me, and the second podcast was boom. 21K view, and it is not a marketing promotion video and all that. What we did without any promotion, without any effort, um, you know, it got hit 21K view, and what a comments we got on that video. And this is what. So I thought I want to end this 2025 on a very good note. And um, I thought I will reach out to Urvesh for another podcast. And I know this guy now become a big shot. So I thought let me disturb him again. Will I be available for the next podcast for my poor show? And that is humble that he said, Prab, let's do that another podcast. And I'm so excited for today podcast because today podcast we're going to discuss about Wazuh. Now, I know there's a lot of buzzword around Wazuh and all that, but let's make this as a masterclass where I will be a student and Urvesh will be the instructor, and he going to explain about Wazuh, how practically we configure Wazuh, and with the small demo. So looking forward, Urvesh, and thanks for joining back in this podcast.
Thank you so much, Prabh. I seriously have coffee this time ready with me.
I'm on water. It's afternoon time.
Great. And if you're saying, okay, this podcast is poor, then I wish that I get chance, to be as poor and I come on this platform again and again. Like I want to be that poor as you are then in that case.
You are always welcome. And I can see a lot of love and affection we got on that podcast, that people literally has it's a long podcast. I believe it was more than 1 hour, and people have watched till last. And kind of a love and affection we got, Urvesh, God bless you, man. Matlab, see, you can have a reputation, you can have a money, but the kind of a love and affection we get, you get a lot of awards, best CISO award, best SOC award, best iska award, uska award, but this cannot be replaceable. The comments cannot be replaceable with the awards.
Absolutely. I can design a whole wall of medals and awards on my wall of fame, but
the emotions,
if you compare it with one guy coming and say that, hey, Prabh sir, Urvesh, I got hired in this company because of the podcast. I mean, that's the lifetime achievement for me, right?
Exactly. And I heard about then you went to one event also where people have appreciated you for the content about this podcast, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was a wonderful experience. So I have been into conferences like a lot of times. I've been into local chapters, Nalcon, B-Sides, the Hackers Meetup. This time I went to B-Sides conference. The best part was people started recognizing me that, hey, I've seen you in podcast with Prabh. You had given this podcast, It feels so good. It feels so humble that people come and talk to you and recognize you that, hey, I have seen your video. I want to know more about it. And for me, I guess that's the only driving force, that encourages me to give back to the community, whatever. And regardless of this nature of the podcast, that me as an instructor or you as a student, the ultimate truth is that we all are a student in InfoSec.
Cool.
And with that mindset, I guess that's how the industry works.
Thanks, Urvesh. And guys, Urvesh also started his YouTube channel. I will share the link in the description box. And this guy is coming with a lot of initiatives on SOC, DFIR, and cybersecurity, and I'm sure that can be a game changer for the aspirants. So, Urvesh, I'm so much excited for today podcast because I will be your first student who making a lot of notes, because I'm also planning to learn Wazuh and I'm also bringing a lot of content around that area. So let me check what is the maximum I can learn from this podcast, and I'm sure the listeners also get a lot of insights.
Thank you so much, Prabh. Let's get started. I mean, the first thing that I'm just sharing on my screen, Wazuh itself, right? And the very first notion that I want to create for all the learners, all the aspirants, all the viewers of this podcast is that you might see this link, right, during the live stream of this podcast. So this link also will be shared in the description. I'll request Prabh to do that. And once you click on this link, whatever things that we are going to learn today, or whatever things that I'm going to discuss today, is there available out there on the web for free. This is my own personal study site that I use on Notion. So this is something I've learned from the previous two podcasts, that people do want something like a note or a presentation PDF or something they want. And I've just tried to provide at least a basic thing, that whatever I'll be referring, so people can just have it as a copy for themselves, and they are free to watch the podcast again and again all over.
Excellent.
Yeah. Starting off with Wazuh, Prabh, I would like to start off with a note over here. Is when we say the word Wazuh, this word has been booming in the industry since quite a long time. I'll be sharing the history, that how this word came up into the existence, how it started to boom. That's a separate story altogether, upcoming now. But be it Wazuh or any tool, the purpose of this podcast is not entirely to teach that, hey, you see this podcast and you will be a Wazuh expert. Hey, see this podcast and I'll hire you for Wazuh. Or, Wazuh, some core team will come and reach out to you that, yaar, tumne kuch faad ke rakh diya. No, that's not the intent over here. The intent over here is to make people understand that how do you start learning a tool at the end of the day. So I'll just take a minute or two to say a scenario over here, that after the podcast that we initially gave to the audience, the first and the second one, still today, there are 90% of people who come to me, and I'm sure, Prabh, you might have experienced this even more than me. They come and they say you that, okay, people are telling me to learn SIM, people are telling me to learn SOC, people are telling me to learn GRC, but kya seekhna hai bhai?
English.
Right? People come and say me that, Urvesh, in the podcast you said that learn SIM, learn 2 या 3 SIM tool आने चाहिए, bare minimum. I've said this in the podcast myself, that you should at least 1 SIM tool. So, people come and ask that, hey, you asked me to learn SIM in your previous podcast. Okay, accept it. You asked me to learn at least 1 SIM. Which SIM I have chosen? Be it Wazuh, be it Splunk, be it QRadar, any SIM. But what next? How do you learn a SIM? How do you learn? So there is a huge gap today in cybersecurity, Prabh, wherein beginners especially, they don't know where to start, because there are a hell lot of things going on into the market. So the chaos is still there. Every time someone comes and asks me for a roadmap, and I'm like, according to me, I cannot give you a roadmap, because there is no such roadmap. You have to create your own roadmap. And if I say you do this, if that doesn't work out for you, I cannot risk your career for my sake. I'll better not guide you. You can find some other mentor. I am okay in it. But there is no roadmap. And now, when I was, thinking about it, this thought didn't let me sleep the entire night, that if I cannot give a roadmap, then in what basis the beginners are approaching us? They need something from us, right? So this is where this Wazuh podcast is aimed to, not to teach Wazuh end to end, but give you a gist of, you start with any tool. Here we have chosen Wazuh, considering its popularity today. Be it any tool, 5 years down the line, Prabh will be here on his YouTube channel and we'll be talking about some XYZ other tool. But how do you have that mindset and how do you approach that tool is the aim of the end goal of this podcast. Well, with this being said, I'll directly start with the installation of Wazuh, because what I feel is, let's start off with the practicals first. While the installation happens, we can carry forward our discussions alongside.
So Wazuh is basically more like a SIEM, we can say?
Yes, it is an SIEM plus a combination of an EDR.
EDR, okay. And it is open source.
It is open source, plus it has its own pricing plans also. Meaning you can deploy Wazuh completely for free if you have your own hardware. It's up to you. You pay for your own compute costs. But if you want that, hey, I don't want to go into compute zone at all. I want my Wazuh to be SaaS based completely. I want the vendors to take care of it. They have a cloud tiering model as well.
Understood.
That's how the technology works. We will be discussing more on the licensing part also. This is where, one of the reasons Wazuh became so popular. As of now, I'll be starting off with the installation of Wazuh. Now, viewers might think that directly jumping on the installation without any background, don't worry. There is a chunk of theoretical, historical.
And that's why we don't want to get into that area. Urvesh why is special. And that's why we directly come to the point. And that's why this guy doesn't wearing a suit, neither I'm wearing a suit. We are we are directly talking about outcome. That's it. Yeah.
Exactly. So, the outcome matters.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'll be also sharing the technical nitty-gritties of this, but starting off with how do you install Wazuh? And the reason I'm starting with the practical first is 90% of the videos today on the internet, I'm not even going to say the names. People are smart enough to know, big YouTube channel, small YouTube channel, everyone out there today, they make videos on Wazuh. When Prabh, you asked me to, we want to do a podcast on Wazuh, I was scratching my head that what do I do, which is, not there on the internet now. Because internet is filled with what Wazuh is there plus 10 times more than what people are doing today. Right? But that's the intent, right? I'll start with the installation so that people know that how do you install Wazuh. And this is especially for the beginners as well, that it takes one single command to install Wazuh. What it takes is one single command.
Oh, okay.
Right? And there's nothing else. Right now, what you're seeing on the screen is a cloud machine that I'll be using. It's a Ubuntu machine, Linux machine, basically a Linux box. Wazuh typically runs on any Linux operating system. I am using over here Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. It's not necessary you have to use the same one. But I prefer Debian based, so I'm choosing Ubuntu as a Linux operating system over here. So most of the production SIEMs that you see today, their backbone is of Unix, right? This doesn't stop you from installing Wazuh from Windows inside Windows operating system, though it's not supported directly. You can use virtual machines. You can use Windows subsystem for Linux or any other Linux box. You can use your own local Linux machine as well. You can use anything that you want. The condition is you should have a Linux box. That's the bare minimum for Wazuh. In terms of the system requirements, for the home lab setup, I'm saying this again, people usually don't say much out loud, but suppose you want just to build a small, simple home lab that we are doing today in the podcast, wherein we are just going to integrate one log source, one Windows machine, which will be sending logs to Wazuh. That's it. For that, 150 to 200 GB of disk space to your Linux box, 4 to 6 gigabytes of RAM should be good enough for you to run Wazuh, and 2 processors. That's it. That's the only thing you need to run Wazuh, and nothing more. Even for this machine that you see over here right now, if I can just show you over here, if I go into the OS panel, I'm using this one. Let me just go into settings. Basically what I'm trying to say over here is that even for this machine, this is a KVM type 2, which only has 8 GB of RAM, 100 GB of disk space, over here, and around a 4-core CPU. That's it. And this is enough for me to run, at least for the small practical stuff. I'm not saying end-to-end, all the practicals can be performed. Right now, what I'm doing is I'll just access this machine, I'll just access this Linux box terminal. Okay. This is how usually your Linux box terminals look like. I'm already a root user over here. Okay. If you're not a root user, don't forget the word sudo, or you can simply enter the root using sudo su- and you'll enter root. Right? Root is important. Now, where is that one single command that you need to install Wazuh, right? It's right here on the page. I've already embedded the link. I've said start here, Wazuh AIO. Now, what is this AIO that I've stated? This is something interesting. It goes a bit technical from here. Any SIEM tool that you see today, including Wazuh, or you can see IBM QRadar, top grade SIEM tools that you see, they offer something called as an AIO and a distributed deployment.
Okay.
Now, AIO stands for all in one, meaning every component of that tool is under the one roof, all in one. And when we say distributed deployment, meaning that there are different components that are required for this tool to run, for Wazuh to run. Now, those components are on different machines. Okay, let me give you a simple example over here. So Wazuh has 3 components. Consider A, B, and C. A components help you for searching the logs. B component helps you for visualization of the logs. C components help you for alerting. Example. When I say A, B, and C are under one Linux machine, it is an AIO deployment, all in one. But when I say that, hey, my capacity is much more than what I think, right? Wherein I want component A, which is searching the logs, to be more powerful because the number of logs that I'm ingesting in my SIEM is way more, 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, and so on. So I can choose my Wazuh in a distributed mode wherein I can tell that, hey, each component is installed on a separate Linux machine. They are communicating with each other, but I'm scaling it up and down based on my requirements.
Okay, it is possible.
It is possible. This is a distributed deployment.
Okay.
एक ऐसा होता है ना यार, in a simple terms, like if you have a bucket of water, right? And suppose if you have 1 liter of bucket, you can only fit 1 liter of water into that bucket. That's AIO for us.
Okay.
Now what do you mean by distributed deployment means? Say I know my capacity for water consumption is 5 liters. That 1 liter AIO is not sufficient for me now. 1 liter of bucket. So what I'll do is, I'll take 5 buckets, 1 liter each, or 2 liter each. So 5 2s are 10. In total, 10 liters. My capacity is 5 liters, right? So what I'll do is, I'll split it up. Hey, you need 2 liters, I'll allocate 2 liters in one bucket. In another bucket, I can just give 1 liter of water. And in that way, I can complete my 5 liters of quota. If you understand this in a technical term, same happens with logs. If component in Wazuh, which we call as an indexer, which I'll be coming towards also in the theory part. Indexer is the component that will help you to search your logs in Wazuh. Index your logs in Wazuh. Now, I want my indexer to be most powerful. Why? Because indexer is the core component which is parsing your logs, which is helping Wazuh to understand the logs, which is taking the logs, right? So, indexer should be most powerful because indexer is helping me to search my logs.
Bro.
Right? Now, I know that my indexer is processing probably 1 terabyte of data per day. So, I want my indexer to be most powerful. So, what I'll do is, I'll install my indexer separately in another Linux machine.
Because it demands computation.
Yeah. And it will be a very high compute machine. On the other hand, my dashboard is just GUI for me. My main component indexer is dusted and sorted. So my next component is dashboard. I can give less compute power to it. So that is distributed deployment.
Okay.
Incorporates in actual scenarios in industry standards. Usually they follow distributed deployment considering the size of the logs that the company needs to ingest. AIO is a very rare case. Usually AIO is seen in the case of SaaS model where Wazuh only gives you the cloud instance and all and they manage it. Okay. For this practical, we will be going with AIO because for lab purpose, AIO is more than enough. It's super simple to set up and you don't have to, play around the distributed side of the things. While you are completely free to do so. Wazuh, this documentation, Prabh, even if I can say make 10, 15 podcasts on Wazuh, still this documentation will be less to cover. So
we'll have more podcasts in the future?
Yes, probably.
Can I disturb you?
Yes. It's my pleasure actually. So this documentation is so powerful. I have a hard copy of this documentation printed in my home. I just keep on reading it whenever I feel time, right? So it's the official documentation of Wazuh. It has every single thing that you need to know for Wazuh, right? So hence I'm saying that for the sake of the beginner audience also, and for the sake of covering more things in this podcast, we will be going for AIO installation today, which is more than enough for the lab practical and for the beginner audience to understand that it just takes one single command to install Wazuh. That's it. So as soon as you come to this page, if you scroll down, there is this command over here, installing Wazuh, right? You just have to copy this command. Go to your Linux box and I'll just paste it over here. I'll press enter and trust me, this one command and your Wazuh will be installed. It will take some time, but it takes just one single command to install Wazuh. One single command. So the reason I'm covering installation first is to make people understand that, hey, things are not always as complicated as you see on the web or as you think or as you have, thought in your mind. So the complication is just here now. It's not actually on screen. So today, after seeing this podcast, if any beginner, wants to install Wazuh, it just takes one single command, AIO, done. And you see, as soon as I ran this command, it's starting to install. It will install all the dependencies. It will install Wazuh dashboard, Wazuh indexer. Basically, each and every component that is required for Wazuh to work, it is going to install that.
Okay.
Right. Meanwhile this happens, let's cover some background part of it now, the theory part, or why Wazuh, what Wazuh. Meanwhile, let this thing happen. So before even Wazuh, Prabh, like I wanna, good.
So Urvesh, as you said about the installation is happening, but again, if you need a visibility, what is happening? What is the connections, components, integrations, everything, whatever is there. So can you just give a viewpoint of that from an end to end?
Perfect. So that's a better approach, I think. Let's go a little bit on the architecture side first, rather than the history part. So I'm again on the Wazuh homepage. Here I went into getting started. Okay. And here itself, if I click on components, this is the very, very high level architecture diagram of Wazuh. Technical architecture diagram, I'm saying. While I do have a most simple and the best explanation in the notes that I have written, but on a surface level, I won't go into all of this technical stuff because it will be too much, I feel. I'll go with the three main components and the explanation, and then we can touch base on this diagram again. Okay. Underlying layer, Wazuh, when it started initially.
Can you zoom it? Can you zoom it? Little bit?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So Wazuh, when it came into the market, it was based on Elasticsearch. So the backend of Wazuh was Elasticsearch back then.
What is Elasticsearch?
It's again an aggregation engine. It's a SIEM tool basically. But when we say Elasticsearch, it's an indexing and aggregation engine. It's a clustering engine, which is used to which helps your data to get clustered and indexed. Right? Today, Wazuh is based upon OpenSearch, OSS. OpenSearch is again a hard clone of Elasticsearch itself. It's an open source tool. So what Wazuh did, they took OpenSearch, took a hard clone of it, and on top of it, they started to build their application.
Okay.
Today, at a very high level, Wazuh has three, or I can say four main components. I should say four main components. Whenever I say Wazuh architecture, your brain should go around these four components. First one is the agent. Second one is the server. Third one is the dashboard. And fourth one is the indexer.
Okay.
As of now, no need to, focus on what are these things, what are these connection pipelines and all. Right? It's not complicated that much, but Wazuh architecture meanings four components: agent, server, dashboard, and indexer. Okay. Now, if I want to explain what is an agent, server, dashboard, and indexer, let me just go scroll down into this notes part, right? This is how the Wazuh architecture works. The first component that I said was agent. Agent is nothing but it's a Wazuh agent. It's the application that stays on your endpoint. Which endpoint? The one which you want to monitor. Meaning it stays on the endpoint. So Wazuh supports three types of agent: Windows, Linux, and macOS. Meaning, using Wazuh as a SIEM or as an EDR, you can monitor Windows endpoints, you can monitor Linux machines, and you can monitor macOS machines. So today in this podcast, if I install Windows agent on my Windows machine, meaning I'm telling my Windows machine that, hey, you have to send logs now to Wazuh. That's what an agent does. Agent is just like the security guard in your machine, which will sit and it will take the logs from your whatever machine, Windows, Linux, or Mac, and it will send it to the further components of Wazuh.
Okay.
That's what an agent does.
Okay.
Then the brain of the Wazuh is called as the Wazuh manager. This is like the brain, the main part of Wazuh. What are the tasks that this guy does over here? It gets the data from the agent, meaning the agent will send the data to the manager. My Windows machine will have Wazuh agent. Wazuh agent will monitor the logs, send data to the manager, to the brain. This manager will take that data from the agent, decode the log, meaning this is the component which is telling Wazuh that this is a Windows machine. This is Windows 22H2. This is Windows 11. This is Windows 10. And that is the job of the manager, to decode and understand neuralize the data in the terms of that, make meaning out of it, make meaning out of the data, right? Because the tool won't know that, hey, this is Windows or what. We don't know. The machine does not know yet. The engine does not know. So who tells the engine that this is Windows, this is this version of Windows, this log meaning is equals to this, is the job of the manager. Whatever rules that we see in a SIM tool, that if there is a failed login attempt 5 times in 2 minutes, create a brute force alert. This kind of alerting and rules are, managed by manager again. So getting the data, decoding the data, you're understanding the detection rules and also triggering the alerts. All of these core tasks are performed by the manager, the brain. So in simple terms, this is the brain which turns your noise into signals.
Okay.
Your logs are your noise that is coming from your machines. Making this noise into meaningful signals is what the brain does, the manager. Now, Wazuh indexer. Reflecting back on the distributed part, right, where I said that indexer is the component which searches your data, which helps to search your data. So, indexer in Wazuh is where the data is stored and searched. Simple example, Prabh, I have this notebook in my hand, right? 300-page notebook approx. It's fully filled with content, and I ask you to find topic A without telling you that there's an index to it. How much time it will take for you?
Take too much time.
Forever, probably.
Might be by luck I will get the first, but
Exactly.
by reality, it will take time.
You have to, fill in each and every page one by one.
True.
Now the SIEM notebook. I see you 300-page filled with content, and there is an index. Topic A, page number this. Topic B, page number this. Now, how much time for you it will take?
Yeah, it will take less time.
Super easy. That's what an indexer does. That's the primary function of a SIM, any SIM tool, not just Wazuh. Data indexing. This is a part of, data operations, like, data normalization, data parsing, data indexing. So indexer is what does data indexing in your Wazuh. It will take the logs, it will allow the logs to store, and it will help you to search the logs. So it is indexing the logs for you in Wazuh. So indexing means this guy will give the engine the name that this log is of Windows. It will index the name Windows. So whenever you go to your Wazuh, search agent is equal to Windows, who is doing that in the backend? Who is indexing that data for you? It's the indexer over here.
Interesting.
And now, why I said that why I gave that 2-5 minute of talk on distributed deployment is this component over here is where, usually companies struggle in terms of performance, in terms of retention.
Yeah, it can be single point of failure also, right?
Exactly. Because this is the component which is, storing your data and acting as a search engine for you. This is like the Google of Wazuh, search engine for Wazuh, right? Hence, usually in corporates, they do distributed deployment where the indexer, or there are multiple indexers. If one fails, another fails, another. And they are high compute indexers, so that your data is not lost.
Interesting.
So this is where the governance side or the architecture side of security operations comes into the play, that how much CPU we want to allocate to the indexer, how much disk we want to allocate to the indexer. The architecture part of the SOC comes into this play. And then the fourth and the most interesting and the most easiest component of Wazuh is the dashboard. The name itself says dashboard provides you a UI. So all of these three components, they reside onto the operating system on the Linux level. And all of these components together, if you give a user interface to it for humans, this is the job of the dashboard.
But I still have a question. Why this word came into the market? Like, why there was a lot of buzz on Wazuh? It was not there 5 years back. Why people were initially they're talking about Splunk, then QRadar.
Yeah.
Now everyone loving Wazuh.
Yeah. And to answer your question, we'll just go back to this point over here, Prabh. We'll go back in time. We'll use Doraemon's time machine now, and we'll go in 2019, pre-2019 era. Wazuh is a long-term, a tool. It's not that it came into the market now. I exactly don't remember the year when it found, but it's a very simple. It's a company is registered since a long time. Okay, the Wazuh. Now it exists yet, but till pre 2019, nobody knew about it. That there's something called as Wazuh which exists. It was competing with SIM out there, but it was rarely chosen.
Yeah.
In 2020 to 22, this is the inflection point, which is what I feel over here. Meaning, during this period, you're aware that there was COVID, all of that came up, right? People started to do remote job, companies started to do hire remote force, and I mean, it was a bad time for everyone around the globe, but a massive push for the IT industry at that point in time, the peak period for IT. So companies started to move towards cloud, remote work promoted, and because of now, see, I am in your office, you're giving me office equipment, your office equipment is monitored 24/7. Now, because of COVID and all, you need to give me remote work. I need to sit in my home. Even I'm using company's laptop, I need monitoring. So the boom around endpoint monitoring, SIM monitoring, data monitoring, it started to peak up because of remote work and because of cloud as well. Companies started to moving towards cloud, right? This is where the other players out there, be it QRadar, Splunk, whatever names that you said, right? They started to explode the market, and that's why we say, right, that there should not be a monopoly. Today in India, we say there are the two network providers, Reliance and Jio.
And
right?
flights are Air India and Indigo.
Exactly. You saw that what happened with Indigo, right? And it was a massive disruption around the entire nation, right? So hence, the market monopoly players, what they started to do, they started to increase their cost. Because now they know that a customer who is there with me has to pay more cost to me because they have no other option now. And considering the current situation, they have to. There's no choice. And that's the brutal reality. And I'm not blaming the companies for increasing the cost. Obviously, they also went remote. They also need more money now to run their operations. That's a separate story. Let's not enter that politics. But yeah, that was the reality. Okay. That gave an initial push. Now, post 2022, the graph goes like this. Why? Because the budgets that were assigned to SOC, they got tight. Now, I feel very sad to say this, but this is the phase where the era of layoffs started gradually. 2022, 2023, 2024, you started hearing the word layoffs, mass layoffs, and so on. Why? COVID went off, people started moving again to in-office workplaces. During COVID, they hired too much of workforce, whatever reasons, right? So the budget was limited now for the SOC. Now, one of the major players, Elastic, ELK, that I say, Elasticsearch, they are licensing and all, they changed that. They changed their licensing model. They wanted to more expensive side of the things. This made the organizations to rethink about their tooling system. And this is the time, Prabh, because of this COVID period and all, people were at home, people were remote. A lot of trend was given to the open source community. You see, today the trend, if you have heard of this thing called as the Hacktoberfest.
Yeah, right? I heard about that.
Each year, they conduct a massive level of event in the month of October called as the Hacktoberfest. And it's all about how much open source contribution you are making to the GitHub projects and to the open source community.
Okay.
All of this started to take a boom during this phase. And Wazuh being open source, it waded through and it made a push, right? So this is how the Wazuh, slowly came into existence, wherein people, and okay, the next slide will make it more clear for you, Prabh, that why organizations did this. Wazuh was and still is the only company which does not use per GB per event licensing. Meaning, you go to QRadar today, okay, you go to Splunk today, they will charge you on the basis of amount of logs per GB that you are ingesting. Per GB, this much is the cost. 0.1 GB also, if you exceed, your cost will be increased.
I heard about it. Even we don't mean to take a name, but I have seen people who are not very happy, to be frank.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Wazuh does not do that. Wazuh has a separate licensing model. It is based on the number of agents. Wazuh says, I don't care about how much logs you are ingesting. That's because I am open source. If you have that much of compute,
Go ahead.
It's your headache, right? I am concerned with the number of agents, means how many endpoints you want to monitor per Wazuh engine, meaning your per Wazuh deployment, right? That is how the pricing is based upon. Plus, that is also when you are going with the cloud tier model, the SaaS model. Other than that, if you have power, today I have power to install one Windows agent only in the podcast. Wazuh says okay. Tomorrow I say, Prabh, I have 1 TB of RAM and 2 TB of disk space, and I have 50 Windows machines with me today. And I have the power to compute it using any compute. And see, Wazuh is completely flexible. You are using AWS, for your compute, go to AWS. You're using Azure, go to Azure. They are available on each marketplace.
True.
You pay for your own compute power. Tomorrow, if you say that my machines are from 50 to 100, they increase, I got more employees, I want to monitor more endpoints, scale up, Wazuh is ready to handle it. Scale up your indexer, Wazuh is ready to handle it. That's the most unique licensing model. Right?
Okay.
And till today, I'll take the name out loud. IBM QRadar, okay? Or Cortex XDR. These solutions, Palo Alto, IBM, they sell their SIM separately, they sell their EDR separately. Both of them cost money. And they have the monopoly, they have the network of it. This is like Apple ecosystem. Once you take a MacBook, you are forced to take an iPhone because the ecosystem works that way.
True.
Same with these players. If you take IBM SIM, if you want the most out of your XDR or EDR, endpoint defense, endpoint, EDR or XDR to work, by or the other chance, you have to go with IBM only, because IBM SIM says, hey, I am not open to integrate with any other SIM so flexibly. This is not
it is the same like if you take example of Bollywood movies and all that, initially 15 years back, Karan Johar and all that, they were like a premium.
Yeah.
And now Madrock and all that are coming as open source. They're giving support to everyone, going on flexibility and all that. And this is how they're replacing.
Exactly. And what Wazuh did, Wazuh said, I'm not even selling SIM and XDR separately. My platform is SIM plus XDR. It will do the SIM job for you, and it will also do, some level of endpoint protection for you.
True.
So SIM plus XDR, 2-in-1 solution. You're saving a lot of cost. And you get control over your data, right? Now, again, one important thing, Prabh, all of this doesn't mean that Wazuh is a one strong solution today. Till today, companies use Wazuh along with some supplementary tools. Meaning, companies still prefer using some other EDR sometimes based on the power, like CrowdStrike. There's no beat of CrowdStrike in the EDR market today, right? Wazuh is not that capable today. It might be in the future, but it's like a supplementary tool again, right? But if you take a small company, if I have a company of 100 people, 50 people, I am sufficient in using Wazuh. I don't want any other expensive tool.
True.
That's the case. Wazuh is smart enough to block the threat on my machine directly. Plus send the logs to me as a SIM. Now, main part. Why popularity among individuals, Prabh? Cyber world was already booming. People wanted to enter cybersecurity. They wanted to learn this. They wanted to learn that. IBM QRadar, they offer the lowest grade of their SIM offering for free. IBM QRadar Community Edition 7.3.3 till date. So outdated. Today, if I teach you IBM QRadar on 7.3.3, tomorrow if you go to a company which is using QRadar, the entire interface is changed.
Okay.
That much level of difference. Splunk, they were giving enterprise security free trial earlier. They stopped it. Now you can only get enterprise trial. You cannot get enterprise security Splunk trial at all. So if you're joining a company which has enterprise security, how will you perform? How will you learn? It's a new thing for you. A lot of tools do this. Datadog, they have a free tier, but some limitations again, right? Wazuh, on the other hand, is open source. Every person, even a beginner, even who is an intern, who is a BTech student today, can learn Wazuh for free. No,
and it doesn't require any, and it doesn't require that. If you take example of programming knowledge and scripting and all that, it doesn't require.
Not at all.
Okay.
See, some level of scripting you require. I'll tell you why. You require some level of XML knowledge because Wazuh rules are written in XML. Now, Prabh, I cannot see this as a drawback. Why? Because today you go to Splunk, you want to learn Splunk. You say that, hey, I want to write rules in Splunk as a detection engineer. You should know SPL, Splunk Query Language, SQL, Splunk Processing Language. You go to IBM Corridor today. They have AQL, Aerial Query Language, similar to SQL, right? Each SIM are proprietary, pushing their own set of, some sort of programming, or you can say query language, not even programming, query language. Wazuh is open enough. Wazuh says you can write rules in Wazuh in XML format. XML is standard, right? It's a common standard. It's not Wazuh standard. Plus, Wazuh uses open search in the backend. So you can use, DQL.
Okay.
Right? Simple as that. So the only level of understanding you require is the query part. It's similar to SQL, select this from that and all. And in short, what I'm trying to say is, today if you're a BTech 4th year student trying to enter into cybersecurity, you don't have programming knowledge. Now, this is a wrong sign when I'm saying BTech. I'm expecting some sort of programming from you because, right? But even if you don't have, consider that.
Okay.
I'm openly saying in the podcast, I don't know programming till date. Completely. I know basic, but not completely. I cannot write an entire script on my own. You don't know that. It's okay. You still can learn Wazuh without any efforts. And that too for free.
Okay.
And Wazuh is one of the tools which is used in SOC roles, blue team, interviews, right?
Validation.
Today, what happens in interview, Prabh? They ask you scenarios, right? Brute force, they ask you password spring, they ask you a domain controller related attacks, right? I don't have a platform to practice it until now, but now Wazuh I do have. Even though the technology is changed, the company is using Splunk, but the scenario is same, right? Brute force is a brute force at the end of the day.
Bilkul.
Right? So now I have a tool which will help me to understand, hey, how does a brute force look? What is a brute force? How do I see it? What are the logs? Right? So hence Wazuh has gained this popularity now.
Okay.
The power of community, to be honest. And one thing, I am just giving a shout out to the CEO of Wazuh. That if you till today, if you go to the CEO of Wazuh and ping him on LinkedIn, he'll reply to you. He'll take time, but he'll reply to you. That much groundness and humbleness is there in the Wazuh's core team.
Okay.
And last but not the least, this last point in terms of popularity on this one. Recently, Wazuh started to make their own Wazuh brand ambassadors. So Wazuh opened an application, they spread it out on the internet.
So
whosoever interested in the entire world, whosoever is interested to become a Wazuh brand ambassador can apply. Basis whatever you have done, whatever you have shared in the community, how much of Wazuh knowledge you have given, and why you are interested based on your skills. Wazuh selected more than 100, and I don't know the numbers, so many Wazuh brand ambassadors they have selected. And their job is to promote new technologies, new stuff around Wazuh.
Okay.
How do you integrate Wazuh with AI? How do you create Wazuh as an MCP server? That kind of technical stuff.
And one more important thing is that what we're talking about, the integration challenge and all that. I think with the open source, you will get all those solutions and everything. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because it is an open source, Prabh, whatever open source tools that I was using so far, I was using the Hive for case management. I was using MISP for threat intel, right? Now, the SIM tool itself is not free for me. How do I integrate? With what do I integrate? I have Wazuh. Wazuh has its API exposed. Any tool you come and integrate with Wazuh, it is there available. If it's not there out of the box, it's again open source. If you are a developer, right, you can code it for yourself. I have seen people on LinkedIn creating their own version of Wazuh dashboard specifically for their
so that
purposes.
freedom they get.
Complete freedom.
That's great. So this is what you're talking about, the individual and choose. What next after this?
Yep. So now, because of this, Wazuh is popular. Right? Wazuh got popular. People started using Wazuh and so on and so on. This is the architecture part of it, right? Now, what I'll do is I'll just simply jump back to the installation where we left. Okay. But before I go that route, why I explained so much of all that is important for the audience to understand that why I'm explaining so much and why are we talking so much on this platform today. This is the problem. Prabh, you have seen that cartoon during our childhood, Gully Gully Sim Sim, right? I have just created a mock version of it. Today, the scenario is there is Gully Gully Sim Sim, SIM, SIM. Every every 2 or 3 days there will be a new feature in the existing sim, or there will be a new vendor out there selling their sim. This is the mindset, why beginners are confused that, hey, where do I start, right? And hence the answer Wazuh. Why? Popularity. Why? Open source. Why? Scalability. And you don't have to fall in the trap of gully gully sim anymore. Right? Because there are so many tools, there are so many vendors. I mean, I myself feel so bad when somebody comes and asks me, sir, do I learn Wazuh first? Do I learn QRadar first? I'm like, that's a wrong question.
True.
What do I say? Right? So my approach, or the message that I'm trying to give through this podcast is start somewhere.
And that's how things works. Yeah.
Yeah. Starting means, see, there's a quote, right? If you have started, consider it as half done. Right? So the mindset should be to start somewhere and not hop around the things. You should have a mindset to start it somewhere. Where do you start it? Is Wazuh. That's the purpose of this podcast.
And as a beginner also, if someone want to learn SOC and all that, Wazuh can be the starting point of thing, because cost effective, free, and according to that they can learn as much they want. What do you say?
Perfect. It's super perfect. One thing cannot be ignored in this, as part of this conversation, Prabh, is fundamentals is not replaceable anymore, to be honest. Today I'm openly saying on your podcast that go and learn Wazuh. It's an open source, it's a good thing. You can use it as a starting point. Tomorrow, some people will come and tell me, hey, Wazuh is complicated. Why? Because I don't know the IP subnetting. Now, bro, it's not my fault anymore.
Agree.
You are not aware of how OSI works. You are not aware of what exactly is a Windows operating system at the first place. And you directly start off with Wazuh.
Doesn't make sense. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
But you should know basic, like Wireshark, packet modeling and all that.
Hence, in our previous podcast, why we got so much of a hit? Because people did not even know what are Windows events in core basic. Today, people are making content around how do you ingest Windows logs in Wazuh. People don't even know what are Windows logs at the first place. That's the sad reality, right? So that is something, we cannot spoon feed on things, right? That is somewhere self-discipline, self-exploration, curiosity comes. And if that is also not there, then I say people openly that please rethink before entering cybersecurity.
Concepts is matter. Even if I was going through one podcast, there's a Japanese technique, Shiana, something like that. It says that, okay, you need to have know the basics, because until you don't know the basic, you will not be able to learn things.
Absolutely. Same applies with Wazuh. So the purpose of the podcast is to not encourage that go and learn Wazuh, but the purpose is that start somewhere where Wazuh. But even before you do that, ensure your fundamentals are strong. So I'll recommend, before seeing this podcast, go to Prabh Nair YouTube channel and see the videos of OSI. See the videos of networking. See the videos of how
this guy is promoting. So it is. Yeah, I have not paid anything for him, and it is his love and affections which he's talking about.
No, it's not just love and affection, but that's the route that you should go. Actually, I must say, right? If someone comes to my and say, hey, मेरे को Wazuh नहीं आ रहा because I'm not able to learn Wazuh because I'm not able to understand, hey, what is the IP that Wazuh is assigning to me? Go to Prabh Nair YouTube channel, see what IP routing is, see what OSI layer is, see what IP to IP communication is first. Then come and see my podcast.
Thank you so much. Love and affection.
That's the mindset. Love, affection, plus the mindset that the people should have today.
Right? Thank you so much.
So, coming back to this. Okay. For us, till now it's clear what is Wazuh, why it became popular, why we are encouraging it today, and why there was a need to say Wazuh in the podcast. Right? Coming back to this installation, Prabh, you see, while we were having so much of interaction, this one command is done, dusted, Wazuh is installed. The best part is Wazuh is giving you the username and the password in the terminal dashboard itself directly.
Okay.
So this is the terminal dashboard and the password. Your user is admin. Password is this to log in. Now, this is the IP address that where my cloud machine is. Okay. If you are using VirtualBox or something, you might have added some network adapter to it. right? So if you are on Linux, if you are, all you do is, oh, the connection is closed. I'll just reconnect with the terminal. Now remember, Prabh, my connection got closed, okay? Just have a note of this. My connection is closed over here. I had to go to another terminal, reinitiate. My cloud connection got closed for some reason. I'll do if config, and I'll see my IP address, which is this. This is the IP which is provided to me by my cloud provider. If you're in VirtualBox, you can do ifconfig. This will be your VirtualBox IP or whatsoever your main IP on which your Wazuh will be installed.
Okay.
I have to just copy this IP. Yep. Open a new tab. Type HTTPS. Paste this IP. And it will give you a warning that the connection is not private. Typical warning, because in AIO that we have installed Wazuh right now, it is not using any SSL. In enterprise grade, SSL is quite important, right? We see that this log, it should not be not secure, it should be secure, right? So in enterprise, they usually configure SSL and all. In considering it's a simple home lab environment, in AIO, there is no SSL. So it's saying you this warning over here.
Okay.
I'll click on advanced and I'll click on proceed on this IP, this part. Once I do that, and boom, Wazuh is loading for you. This is the username, the password section, the login screen. Where do I get
when you type that AIO and all that, it was like an online download, or what exactly is it?
Yeah, I'll go to that now. So
yeah, how can we install? Okay, you told about AI, but if it's so, do we have any setup.exe file that we download, or like in Kali Linux and all that, when we're downloading any updates and all that, we use this git command and all that. So what was the process here?
Yeah, breaking down this for you, and thanks for pinpointing to this. This is the AIO command that I am seeing, right? If I explain this in a most layman terms, we are doing a curl. Curl is to download a file in Linux. Just we do git. So something if you want to get from git, what do? Git clone. Something you want to get from the web, you do curl or wget. So curl -s0 means in the right now of using this link, what it did, this is the URL. If I just copy this URL and if I paste it for you in the new tab, what it's packages.wazuh.com 4.14 wazuh install.sh, meaning the curl is downloading this bash script, and this is a huge long bash script that is being downloaded on your machine. This is the original script that is being downloaded, which is there on the Wazuh's website.
Interesting. And if it need to be downloaded like set in Windows and all that, then setup.exe file something we use, or what?
Okay, so I'll just come back to this. So when I say curl SO and I pasted this link, right? This is the script that is hosted on the Wazuh's official website. This is a bash script. Okay, this script got downloaded in the backend, and this entire huge bash script, I don't know how many lines, probably more than 10,000 lines, is responsible for installing each and every component in Wazuh in the backend. Okay. Going back on this, so what I'm telling, download this bash script and then execute this bash script. So this script is getting downloaded and it is getting executed. That is this one line command is doing right now.
Interesting.
And whatever, for the ones who already are aware of bash scripting or programming, right, or want to go into much detailed integrities of this, they can feel free to explore this bash script and understand how this is working. And what are the so in short, this script is downloading the indexer, manager, and the dashboard for you.
Excellent.
And setting up everything in the backend automatically.
Great.
That is what this script is doing. So technically, it is giving you all of the information. It is installing the dependencies. It is installing the indexer. It is installing the server and the dashboard.
Okay.
And then it will give you this admin and the password page. Like the user is admin and the password, which you can use over here to log in.
Okay.
Now, Prabh, I was kind of expecting that you will ask this question to me, and before you do, I'll only say, what if I am a beginner and in my case, the session got closed. Okay, my electricity went off, or I am a beginner. I accidentally did a clear command. Whatever password that Wazuh was giving me, it's gone now. Right? So it's a natural question as a beginner that, hey, I closed the terminal because I was excited, or hey, I did a clear command because I didn't want to see this much of clutter. Now I didn't know that the Wazuh is giving me password over here. Now what do I do? It's lost, right? And this is a thing, Prabh. Rarely I have seen in any Wazuh tutorial people are covering this. It's a simple thing, like it's there on the Wazuh's documentation, but nobody covers this. I don't know why, and this is where the beginners are stuck today. Right? So what you do is, I have this link in the notes section also. So let me just go. Yeah, this is a link, Wazuh password management. Again, Prabh, I am on the same page. We were on getting started page first. We were on the quick start page first, where we took the command over here, right? Then we went to the architecture page. In the same section itself, I just went to the password management, user manual, password management page. The same documentation. So I'm saying this documentation is quite powerful for Wazuh. I'll come down.
Can you zoom it?
Yeah. This is the command that you need to run. So there is a tool in Wazuh, inbuilt tool. Because you have Wazuh installed now, all of the directories and all are installed for Wazuh.
Fine.
What is that directory? The directory is user, share, Wazuh indexer, plugin, open source security tools. This is the entire directory where the password reset tool is located. If you are confused in this, I'm saying for the viewers, I have already, given this in this over here.
Integration.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay.
Okay, so -P is for the password. You can replace this whatever new password you want to reset.
Sure.
In case if you ever lost the password. Right? Right now, I have this password with me over here. That Wazuh gave me. I'll just copy this. I'll go to the Wazuh page. I'll add the username as admin and I'll paste the password. And I'm into the Wazuh console now.
Excellent.
So
now what next?
Ultimately, if you ignore the theoretical part, whatever we discussed, Prabh, you see how much time it took, around 10 minutes max for this script to run. One script, enter, and you have your SIM ready with you. Right? Next, the very first thing that you see is the overview section. This is the home page of Wazuh. And there are many other sections over here. I'll just wade through it as well. But this is the home page of Wazuh. Okay. Now, just to give you the gist of power, that how powerful this tool is, I'll cover each and every pointer in a very surface level, like in 30 seconds or 10 seconds or so, right?
Okay.
This section over here is the agent summary. Right now, there are no agents deployed. Otherwise, it will tell you how many agents are deployed over here. Agents are nothing but the machines that you are monitoring using Wazuh.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
We saw that in the architecture. Agent is like the security guard. Right? Critical severity, high severity, medium severity, and low severity. These are the alerts that Wazuh triggered in the last 24 hours. And it is saying how many alerts were triggered in the last 24 hours with the severity. Like now, how does it critical? Any alert which has a severity 15 or higher is critical. 12 to 14 is high. 7 to 11 is medium. And 0 to 6 is low.
Interesting.
Then endpoint security. There's a separate component for endpoint security, the EDR stuff for Wazuh. Endpoint security has configuration assessment, malware detection, and file integrity monitoring. This is the only tool in the open source category. I'm not saying the only, but one of the strongest tools right now, which has FIM inbuilt, file integrity monitoring.
Wow.
And I'm sure audience knows what is FIM by now, but just I'm saying that suppose if you have an important file on your desktop, suppose girlfriend.txt, and you don't want, basically if you want to protect it, right? And you want to know that this file
girlfriend
was
or girlfriend file?
girlfriend.txt file. My
Okay.
txt file name is girlfriend.txt.
अच्छा तो मैंने
Okay.
गर्लफ्रेंड प्रोटेक्ट गर्लफ्रेंड.txt फाइल नीड टू प्रोटेक्ट
Okay. Or password.txt. Okay.
हाँ ठीक है
Keep it
ठीक है
technical.
ओके
Okay. And you want that if someone modifies this file, I should get alerted. Or someone opens this file, I should get alerted or something, right? The integrity. What is integrity in terms of CIA, right? Confidentiality, integrity, availability. Meaning, in technical terms, if there's a txt file, even if I had a full stop at the end of the file, I save it, the hash value changes, integrity mismatch, integrity is changed, right? So this kind of monitoring Wazuh will help you to do.
Okay.
Monitor a specific file also for its integrity changes. Okay, that is FIM. Right? Meaning you and see each and every component is self-explanatory. The power of Wazuh, everything is written below the main module name. Alerts if any file changes, including permissions, content, or ownership of the file changes. This is what it will help you to monitor.
Okay.
Then we have malware detection. Threat intel is inbuilt in Wazuh. We have threat hunting. Threat hunting use cases that are built in for Wazuh. Vulnerability detection, it detects vulnerabilities also, and the inbuilt mitre attack framework. Right now, Prabh, if I start talking about mitre attack, the Wazuh will be offloaded. Such an interesting.
No,
topic.
we will keep it separate. But those who are watching this video, do let us know in comment, so I can pull Urvesh in 2026 on the mitre attack.
Yeah, absolutely. I love to do that. Mitre is one of my topics very close to my heart. Okay, and just a hint for the people watching: anyone saying it mitre attack, please stay away from those people. It's not mitre, it's mitre. The reason I'm saying this, at least be with the people around who know the pronunciation, right? Mitre.
भाई मैं भी मिट्रे बोलता हूँ
नहीं भाई तो mitre बोलो please. ठीक है, it's mitre attack. Okay, then we come to security operations.
भाई बेइज्जती कर रहे हो आप ना, मैं मुझे पता है भाई, मैंने माइटर की वीडियो भी बनाई हुई है.
मैंने नहीं देखा था, मेरे को पता होता तो मैं कमेंट नहीं करता.
ठीक है.
I mean, see, it's just that मैं क्यों बोलता हूँ, especially I mean I'm concerned more of the beginners, right? Now I know people who are taking interviews also today in big companies, they say mitre, but I just want that you present your best self to the other person. Say as is, it's mitre, say mitre. What happens, and this has happened with me, I'm saying a personal example. I was giving a talk in XYZ webinar, which was attended by international people. Okay. Sure. And I started mitre attack, and I was mocked for it. And the comment that I got is typical Indian accent, right? And I felt bad. Since that day, I took a pledge that I'll use the pronunciations as they are. Right? So, mitre attack.
Understood.
And for Wazuh also, some people say it Wazuh, some people say it Wazuh.
Wazuh. No, but I say Wazuh.
Even I say Wazuh. If I'm wrong, probably in the future I'll correct myself, but I say it Wazuh. Okay. So then security operations, there is IT hygiene, PCIDS, and Prabh, this is your section to explain. Probably this is where you can pitch in now, right? So Wazuh has an inbuilt decoders, modules for their compliance side also. Meaning, today if I integrate Windows agent to Wazuh, okay, Wazuh is smart enough to understand suppose if it's an HIPAA compliance firm, right? And basically under HIPAA, it should be it's for healthcare if I'm not wrong, and it should be you can say the controls there should be in such a way that it follows the HIPAA mandate. Some standards are there. Even I'm not good at compliance that much, right? So even GDPR, even PCI DSS. So any agent that you monitor with Wazuh, all of these controls for these standards are there loaded in Wazuh, and it will start evaluating against these standards, and it will tell you that, hey, according to HIPAA, this should be there on your Windows, but it's not there. This control should be there, but it's not there. That kind of monitoring. NIST 500, NIST 853, it's for FedRAMP. Like huge range of controls are covered in NIST 853.
Okay.
Right. So that layer of compliance side also is there in Wazuh now. Okay. And then cloud security. As I said, right, people moving towards cloud, Wazuh being a player in there. You can monitor Docker containers using Wazuh. You can monitor AWS accounts using Wazuh. You can monitor Google, GitHub, Office 365, and Graph API. Means your Azure. So you see the versatility of Wazuh. Under one roof, you're getting tons of things. I need compliance overview. I want to know how much HIPAA compliant or NIST 853 compliant my controls are. Just click on this tab.
Understood.
I want to know how my AWS is performing. What is the logs? What are the CloudTrail, CloudWatch I'm getting? Go over here. I want to know my endpoint. Windows, Linux, Mac OS. I have the endpoint security. I want to apply some queries and see what kind of threat hunting thing I can do or what mitre attack mapping I have. It's there in threat intel. Prabh, do you see this number 126 and 181?
Yes.
The question is, I don't have an agent. How it started to give me alerts for medium and
yeah, exactly, because we need to have an agent to pull the data, right?
That's the beauty of Wazuh. See, Wazuh in itself is hosted somewhere. Correct? Where is my Wazuh? It's there in my Linux machine over here.
Yeah.
As soon as I install Wazuh, Wazuh is smart enough to start monitoring its own console itself. Okay. Now imagine Wazuh as a tool. If I'm saying, hey Wazuh, you are responsible to monitor my Windows, it will monitor. But who is monitoring Wazuh? If tomorrow I make changes to this Linux box, if I delete some of the core components of Wazuh, or if I make changes to the core components of Wazuh, who is alerting that? So Wazuh itself monitors its own infrastructure in a way that right now my Wazuh is located on my Ubuntu machine. Wazuh will start monitoring that as well.
Okay.
The place where Wazuh is hosted. Now, if I click over here, suppose if I go into these 3 lines, okay, now see the same things are in categorized format. It's home, explore, endpoint security, threat intel, security operations, cloud, assets management, indexer, server management are the admin side of Wazuh, administrative pages, right? This is where we see the rules, decoders, settings, dev tools, index management, security, and so on, right? The admin stuff of Wazuh. Now, if I go into agents management and if I click on summary, no agents were added to the manager, right? Meaning Wazuh right now is not monitoring any agent, but it is monitoring the manager itself, where Wazuh is there. And how do I prove it? Let me explain it in a better way now. If I go in this explore section and if I go into discover, this page is where I say open search. This is the OSS, open search engine.
Okay.
Right? On top of which the Wazuh is built. Any audience seeing this right now, this is the exact same interface of Elasticsearch.
Oh.
If you compare it with Elastic, there is no difference. Okay. We have DQL in Elastic also. This is open source dashboard query language. It says DQL. In Elastic, we have KQL, Kibana query language.
Okay.
Right. So now, if and what are these? These are the logs that you are seeing right now. Okay. In the expanded document format, if there's a table format and then there is JSON format. Okay. These are nothing but these are logs. Now you might ask, what are these logs? These are the logs of Wazuh alerts. Okay. By default, when you install Wazuh, 3 index patterns are created. Wazuh alerts, Wazuh monitoring, and Wazuh statistics.
Okay.
Okay. If I go into Wazuh stats, there will be different type of data. The nature of the data that is ingesting, it will change. Stats is for disk usage, CPU usage, those kind of metrics you get in stats. Right? Now, if I go into monitoring, there are no results. As of now, there is no data there for the Wazuh monitoring index pattern. Okay. And if I go into Wazuh alerts, this is where all the alerts that is generated by Wazuh comes and stays. Okay. Now you will say, what are these alerts? What do you mean by this alert, right? Now you see where we have hosted Wazuh in a Linux machine. Correct? Essentially, the Linux logs are there over here. Which Linux logs? The machine where the Wazuh manager is residing. Meaning, if I SSH into this Linux box now, Wazuh will record that as an event and come and say to me, you see, PAM Unix SSHD session open for the user root.
Okay.
Right? Where did it open? When did it open? On this date, on this time. Right? The rule ID is 5501. Wazuh, each and every event in Wazuh is categorized by a role ID. Okay, I'll come to this when we see the Windows practical. So now, Prabh, we already saw that the logs that are currently incoming in our Wazuh dashboard or Wazuh engine are from the Wazuh manager itself, meaning the Ubuntu machine where our Wazuh is hosted. And that's so good of a Wazuh engine that it monitors its own ecosystem. Wherein if tomorrow some changes happens into that Wazuh box, the Linux box I'm referring to, if someone deauthenticates into that Linux box where Wazuh is hosted, those events will flow into our Wazuh console. So in a way, Wazuh is allowing us to monitor its own, stay base itself where it's located, plus the agents that we will be monitoring hereafter. Now, for the sake of this podcast, I'm going to keep a simple yet a very effective practical prep, which is onboarding of Windows into Wazuh. Here, the key element is that whenever we onboard any log source on Wazuh, right? Most of the people who are creating, videos on Wazuh, who are creating content around Wazuh, who are creating blogs on terms of onboarding. One of the biggest things that I have seen, which I feel should be added, which is currently incomplete somewhere into the industry, is that whenever you onboard a log source, it's not that you just sit and wait for the logs, and once you see the logs, it's done. That is not onboarding in terms of SOC. So as soon as I onboard my Windows machine on Wazuh, the logs will start coming in. That's for sure. But the next question comes, are these logs even important? Because if we don't scope down the logs, if we don't narrow down the logs, it's just simple pure noise for us, right? So that's something not as part of something we need to discuss right now, but this is an important point I want to highlight for the audience, that SOC never thinks that only how many log sources we need. We need 100 of all the log sources. SOC always thinks in the direction, how many log sources are important and critical for us, and which logs are the most important for us. That's the mindset should be there when it comes to the onboarding, and I'm saying at a corporate professional level right now. Good. Now, for the sake of this podcast, we have just one Windows machine, simple, which is running into my virtual box here over here. Okay, and this is the Windows machine that I'll be using, and I'll be ingesting logs from this Windows into my Wazuh. And I'll just start this machine. And as it gets started, here we have 0 agents right now. So we will click on deploy a new agent. Okay, so I'm on the agent section now. The best and the beauty part about Wazuh is that there are 3 types of endpoints that it can monitor: Linux, Windows, and Mac, which we have already understood by now. And the beauty part that I'm saying is, you just have to click a button, fill on some details. It will automatically give you a command to copy paste, which you can directly run into the endpoint.
Can you zoom
it? You want to monitor?
A little bit?
Yeah, sure. Looks good? Yep. So right now we are monitoring Windows. Okay. So I have selected Windows 32 and 64 bits, whatever architecture we want. Now it's asking for a server address. So this is important usually. Why? Because when it comes to a distributed deployment, right? Over there we have multiple IPs because we have multiple instances of Wazuh in terms of multiple indexers, multiple clusters, right? So what is a primary server? This is important when it's a distributed deployment. For an AIO that we are following right now, everything is on one machine that we are using right now, the Linux box. So the Wazuh server IP will be the same where our Wazuh is hosted right now. And I'll choose remember the server address because next time if I deploy an agent, I don't want to refill it again and again. So I'll ask Wazuh to remember this.
Okay.
Now if we scroll down, here we can assign an agent name. This is completely optional, but I'll still do it. I'll say it as Windows 1. This is the name that I want to give to this agent. So, and how this will be used? This will be used in the logs also. So if within the logs, we can search agent name is equals to Windows 1. Then for this machine, all the logs will be seen. Whenever I write rules, suppose if I write, detections around Windows, I want some detections to be only applied to this specific agent. So I can make it in a way that these rules should only be applied where agent name is Windows 1. So hence it's important. Then here comes the log group. Select one or more existing log groups. By default, there's this one log group called as the default. Okay. And log groups are nothing but it is something just, helping you to create or associate log groups into one or more categories. For example, if we have a lot of Windows endpoints, around 50 Windows endpoints. So assume Prabh, out of those 50, 45 are your normal endpoints and 5 are domain controllers, DCs. I can create a separate log group for domain controllers. And this log group will be persistent across entire Wazuh infra. Meaning, it will be in the logs also. That log group is equal to default. Meaning, I can again write rules. So for example, if I have 50 Windows machines, those 5 are more critical for me, right? Suppose domain controller. If I'm writing a rule for brute force against a domain controller, in a normal scenario, if it's an endpoint, a user laptop, a user Windows machine, for me, brute force would be like if a user is entering wrong password for 8 to 10 times and the authentication is failed, then it's a brute force for me, right? This is common in a normal endpoint scenario. But is it possible to have the same kind of control in a domain controller? No. That is more riskier for me. Domain is like anything can go wrong anytime. Right? So I want the rules that I'm writing for a domain controller to be more strict, to be more tough. Meaning that I want an alert even at 3 failed login attempts. So if it's a DC, if there are 3 failed login attempts and there comes the 4th one, I'll say it's a brute force. Same rule I cannot apply on my normal Windows machine because the user itself will, try the password 2, 3 times, 4 times, whatever. Right?
Yes.
Just a generic example, right? In that case, I can create such log groups. Meaning having the same, platform. Meaning I have the same Windows operating system, right? The endpoint is not changing, it's Windows based only. But because it's in a different log group, I can, search for, log group is equal to DC. It will give me only logs for my DC. Or I can create rules which are only applicable to this log group. Meaning I can write a rule in Wazuh that, hey, this rule of 3 failed attempts is only applicable where the log group is equal to DC. Rest other times, whenever it's a Windows, it will be 8 failed login attempts at generally. So hence log groups are so important in Wazuh when it comes to production scale level.
Okay.
Right now, we are using an AIO, a small lab with just one Windows endpoint. So I'll just keep it as default for now. Okay. And here, this is the command that I get directly, which is invoke web request URI, packages, HTTP, Wazuh, right? So what exactly this command is doing? This command we need to copy and paste into our Windows PowerShell. Okay. Invoke web request, it's just like the curl we used in our Linux box. It is telling Windows that, hey, go to this URL and here is the Wazuh agent file, Wazuh agent -414.something.msi, right? This is the Wazuh agent setup file. It's saying that go to this URL, download this, MSI file with the name in the temporary directory Wazuh-agent. And then run this exe file, run this MSI file. And this is the agent installer for Wazuh, official Wazuh installer for Windows agent, like Wazuh agent for Windows. And then it is having all of the details that we filled in just right now that, hey, once you install this agent, tell the agent to communicate on this IP. Wazuh_manager is this IP, 72.60 something. Wazuh agent group is default. This is where I chose the default, right? If I had chose some other group like DC or whatever, if I had created, I can create and I can assign it. And the agent name I had kept Windows 1. So it's saying Wazuh agent name is Windows 1. So now I'll copy this command and I will go into my Windows box. Here it is. I'll just pop in the size also for this one. Good. Now I need to open PowerShell as an administrator. So this is Windows PowerShell. I will run it as an admin. And before I paste it, I'll enable that I'm able to, copy and paste from this machine to that. Okay. I'll just copy this again. Oh, okay. So I'll open my Windows box. Yeah. So I have enabled the copy and paste feature now. so that I can copy from here and paste it over there. So I'll just take it again, I'll copy it again over here. And here I have to paste that command. Yeah, not able to. Just a minute. Shared clipboard is bidirectional. Copied. Go in my Windows. Yeah, here it is. So I have pasted that command now. I'll just zoom in again so that we can see the command on the PowerShell also. The same command that we discussed, I have just copy pasted it as an admin in my Windows PowerShell. And I'll just press enter. Now, the beauty of Wazuh is that everything will happen automatically at the backend. We don't need to do anything. We just need to do one step. Is once this is done, we just need to start the Wazuh agent now. Right? For that also, the command is given into the Wazuh console also. Okay. So user don't need to worry that, hey, what is the start command? It's already there on Wazuh. So I'll go back in my PowerShell and I'll choose net start Wazuh. Because Wazuh agent is now installed as a service. Okay. So it's going to start the Wazuh agent and start throwing out the telemetry from Windows to your Wazuh manager. Once I do that, it started. The Wazuh service is starting and it is started successfully. Now what I can do is go back to the agent list and you see it's showing Windows 1. Right now it says never connected. The reason is it's just connected. So it will start the agent, restart the agent, send a token. A token in the sense just in our TCP/IP world, right? We say a handshake, right? So it's just like, I'm not saying it's exactly a handshake, but just to give a terminology to it, like it's just like an ACK or an handshake that, hey, I'm Wazuh agent, hello, I'm connected now to you. So within a minute or two, it says disconnected. Give it a minute or two more, it will refresh the status as active. It's connected now. And each and everything we are able to see over here. So Prabh, you remember we said agent 000 is always the manager?
Yeah.
After 000, we got 001. Any endpoint that we will be proceeding with this is 002, 003, 004 and so on. Right? The IP address of my Windows machine, the name, the operating system, which version I'm using, right? Version of the agent. This is the version of the agent. Okay. Now, if I click on this Windows 11, it will give me entire dashboard for my Windows machine, including how many cores, memory, which CPU I have, what is the status, what is the IP, again, what are the events count per evolution, the mitre attack TTPs, which are the compliances, it is revolving around. So this is the best part about Wazuh. Tomorrow, Prabh, if you want to tell someone that, hey, you want to learn SIS benchmarks, you can download the SIS hardening guidelines from the Microsoft website. You can see what are the controls for SIS benchmarking. Evaluate your machine against it. Or there are some GitHub free tools available for doing. Rather than that, what Wazuh is saying, that even someone like Prabh, who is into GRC, who is into governance side, right? If he wants to recommend someone that how do you learn SIS, you can simply tell them, go to Wazuh, connect your Windows endpoint. It will automatically evaluate against SIS benchmarks.
Sure.
In that way, technical aspect also done, GRC aspect also done. So Wazuh is kind of covering all the segment of the audience, whosoever it's using. Right now, see at compliance, we are at PCI DSS. If I same thing, if I do for NIST 853, it will show which are the controls. If I do the same thing for, let's say, HIPAA, it will give me the top of controls. And this is the SCA. This is the SIS benchmarking scan, right? It's saying that out of, around some 400 something controls or 340 controls, whatever it is, 309 controls are failed for SIS benchmarks. 162 are passed controls. 11 are not applicable. So the SIS score is 34%.
Okay.
For this machine. And see, as soon as I connected this was populated for me. If I want to expand this thing and see it in detail, which are the controls, I just need to click on this. Over here, it's showing me that 162 are passed, 309 are failed, and you can see what are the failed and what are the passed controls over here. I can click over here, it will give me the entire description of that SIS control, that what is the rationale behind it, why it is important, why it is part of SIS, and what is the SIS CVS score, what is the SOC 2 control for associated this, what is the PCI DSS associated annex for this, everything it is going to show me. So I don't need to, wobble my head around multiple reference links or multiple PDFs or control sites or something. That's the beauty of Wazuh, which is there inbuilt. Similarly, if I suppose go back to the same page where it was showing me the entire dashboard over here, it says me that there's a defense evasion, mitre attack tactic, which is hitting over here. I just need to click on it. It will tell me, hey, this is the tactic ID. If I expand this bar again, entire dashboard for mitre attack. So if I go into intelligence, you see the entire mitre attack website is picked and embedded into this. I have all the groups, mitigations, softwares, tactics, techniques, everything over here. And directly searching for any specific tactic, technique ID. I can go to the framework and this will load the entire mitre attack framework for me. And I can just say that, hey, hide techniques with no alerts, meaning all of this is showing me 0 right now because these tactics are not yet hit for this Windows machine. If I click on here that, hey, only show me the tactics which has a hit, it says disable or modify tools. There's one event which, contributed to this tactic. I will click on it, okay? And it will give me all the details that what was the rule ID and what is the description, Wazuh agent was stopped. You see, it's so detailed over here that the Wazuh agent was stopped when it was stopped during the installation, right? As I said, it starts, it restarts, it then communicates to the Wazuh. It's saying that Wazuh agent was stopped, meaning it's thinking that, hey, somebody might have stopped this Wazuh agent on purpose deliberately. Or if I go into my Windows box today, right now, okay, if I can go to my Windows box and I do next stop Wazuh, if I do this command, it will again throw a second event on my Wazuh dashboard saying that, hey, somebody stopped the Wazuh agent. And somebody is trying to do defense evasion over here. Everything filtered, mapped with mitre attack. Okay. And we can also see the events, the actual event, what was there for this one. Okay.
This is excellent. Yeah. Can you zoom it? Can you show me the zoom it?
Yeah, sure. This one.
Wow.
So every detail, what was the manager name, what was the location, the decoder name, the agent name, the IP, and what was the description that the Wazuh agent was stopped. Plus every event mapped with our mitre attack, TTP, and the NIST controls or whatever we want to call it. Now going back over here, the same thing right now. This is all in the form of a dashboard, right? The same thing from a SOC perspective. If we see in the point of events, right? We again go to the Discover tab over here, and in the Wazuh alerts, you see that we are getting logs from Windows 1 also now.
Zoom it. Can you zoom it a little bit?
Yes. Agent ID 001, agent name is Windows 1. And what I can do is I can simply click on agent name over here, over to this icon. It's saying there are 2 agents right now. The SRV was the one that we saw. It's the own Wazuh's box, the Linux box where Wazuh is hosted. The second one is Windows. It is aggregating it for you automatically, that what are the top 5 values in terms of events that it is sending. So right now in my Wazuh, 2% of logs are coming from the Linux box and 97% of the logs are coming from my Windows machine. What I'll do is I'll just click on this filter for value. It will be added as a filter on the top. Agent name is Windows 1. Now I'm only getting the logs for Windows machines over here. If I expand any one of this event, there are different events, you see, and each and every event will have its own mitre mapping. Okay. What is the message? The start of the Windows model installer services from change from auto to demand start. It's what kind of log it is? It's an informational event. And this is very easy for the people now to understand this informational event or the type of event who have, watched our previous podcast on Windows events, right? So it will give you each and everything that what exactly this event is about, what it is doing, what came into the alert zone, right? This, for example, if I open, it's going related to some update, Microsoft background update or something is going on, right? So each and everything will be logged up over here now. Let me do one thing. I'll go back into my Windows box and I'll just close this and I'll lock my user over here.
You're giving me a lot of tasks, man. Make a notes.
That's true. Wazuh itself is so interesting that the more you learn, the more intensive it gets. Now, what I did, I entered, 2 to 3 second, just then the third, 3 times I entered the wrong pin. Okay. And I'll now click on refresh. Okay. And now you see it took like a second or two now, and it gave me there will be a failed login attempt over here somewhere that the login attempt was not successful. Let me just try to expand this. Now you see over here, Prabh, win system channel security type of an event. We saw about application system security and sysmon, right? So this is a security type of an event, and account failed to log in, right?
Okay.
Entire Windows event that we saw, the process ID, the opcode, what kind of event it is, and it's saying that a user, it is failed to attend, an account failed to log on. 3 failed login attempts. Now, what if I, want to filter for only failed login attempts, right? I can go over here, say rule description, login failure, unknown user, or bad password. This says in this way, right? Either I can filter for this over here. If I do this, all the failed login attempts will be, shown to me. But what if I want to specifically search for security events over here? That data win system channel should be security. Okay. Now you see, there's an exclamation mark over here, Prabh. Most of the people who talk about Wazuh today on the web, or say this is how you onboard Windows log, they tend to ignore this part. And this is where again the beginners start scratching their head.
And I was about to ask that question because I have seen in other trends also when it comes to logs and exclamations and all that. I always remember why they put such kind of things.
Yep. So that's the understanding that one should have, that whenever you learn tool, any simple, be it Wazuh, right? The reality is way different when you actually do it or see someone on the web doing it. Meaning, right now, I can simply, end the podcast and say, hey, Prabh, this is how you ingest Windows log into Wazuh. Yeah, people go and learn Wazuh. But that's not the case now, right? The case is, what if I want to filter all the security related events, which is coming from the channel security in Windows in my Wazuh. As a beginner, I am stuck, right? I have not been told that how to fix this problem, which is saying that no cache mapping for this field, refresh field is. Meaning, until and unless, so see what happens over here, whenever we onboard some endpoints on Wazuh, some fields are not refreshed into the indexes, such as the index that we are in is Wazuh alerts right now. So Wazuh alerts index is saying me that, hey, I don't know this field as of now. I need to refresh this in my, brain, so that next time when you open this, I can add a filter over here. Right now, it's not allowing me to do. On the other hand, if I scroll down and if I just add a filter on this, for example, this one, it is allowing me to add the filter. Right? So if I click on this, see there are 3 failed login attempts. Exactly, I did failed login 3 times and those 3 are over here. Right? But what if I want to see the security event channel, which is not right now allowing me to, index, not allowing the field to be filtered for me, right? What it says, see, the beauty of Wazuh is this problem also gives you the solution. It's saying that go to the management and go to the index pattern page. Yeah. That's the hint for you. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just make a duplicate of this. I'll go into index management over here, right? And if I go into indexes, okay, what was the main index that we are using is Wazuh alerts. I'll just search for alerts over here right now. Wazuh alerts index. Okay, actions. Either I can re-index or I can refresh. I don't need to re-index, I just need to refresh the fields. Yeah. I'll choose refresh. Refresh indexes. I'll choose refresh. Done. Let me just, try to refresh this again. Sometimes this might solve the problem, sometimes it does not. So again, it's not solving the problem, right? It's saying, okay, so what's the concern? We have refreshed the index right now, okay? But the problem says that we need to refresh the index patterns and not the index over here, right? So I'll go back, and what I can simply do is I can go into indexes, I can click on actions, and again, if I choose refresh over here, perhaps it is going to refresh the index.
Yeah.
But we need to search something for index patterns over here. So if I go back over here, data streams, nope, templates. Sometimes it's not the exact thing that Wazuh gives you, that where we need to go, but it should
that's
be
a security is that's a depending upon dynamic approach.
Exactly.
Every time you cannot predict.
Exactly. So it's not in server management. It's not dashboard. Yeah, sorry. See, in dashboard management, let me go over here. Index patterns. Here the setting was residing. Okay, and here are the Wazuh alerts index pattern for us. So just for the viewers again, right? What we did earlier was not wrong. We refreshed the index, but that was not the solution for the problem. We changed our approach that, hey, on the fly, we need to identify the problem. So we on the fly identified the problem that, hey, we need to refresh the index pattern and not the indexes, right? So in Wazuh alerts, right, I'll click on this refresh icon, refresh field list, choose refresh. It's done. I will go back and refresh this now. It's still not working. I'll try to refresh the main page. And see, all the exclamation marks are gone now. Right. Now, what I can simply do is I can, remove this filter. And what I can add as a filter is data win channel system security. And the same field now also will be reflected here. Data.win. You see, all the data.win fields are now populated. Data.win.system.channel. So there are 25% logs that are coming in Windows are from the system channel, and 75% of the logs are from the security channel. I will add that. And done. Click on refresh. You see, now any security event not even related to field authentication, but any security related event will be populated over here now.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I can see that.
Now, let us try to do one thing. Let us go one step ahead and try to go a little bit more technical on this part. Okay? We'll cover a one more technical kind of a thing over here. Little bit of more technical, which is again already there in the Notion page that I have created, so viewers can easily refer to it. What we are going to do right now is we are going to basically see a brute force example. Okay, how the detection engineering approach works in Wazuh. Okay, so you remember I said about the example of DC versus normal Windows endpoint, right? Before I even go that, one thing that I want to teach or share with the viewers is that unlike any other SIM tool that you see like QRadar or something like that, rules are simple conditional statements. Meaning, if you go in QRadar, if you go to the rule wizard, these are conditional statements.
And what is rule wizard?
The place where you can create rules for QRadar.
Okay.
So what is a rule in SIM? A rule is nothing but a condition. If I give a layman example right now, okay, so I'm at office, right? And suppose today is Friday evening. So Friday morning I left for office. My wife gave me a condition. If you don't come home early today for the movie,
bhai badal gaya.
Okay.
We are recording this session, and I'm sure Bhabhi also watched this, so be careful.
It's okay. I mean, example, I'm not.
I don't want you to become example. That's the reason.
No, that's okay.
We had one Urvesh guy in this industry.
No. So she gave me a condition saying that if you don't come home early today for a movie from office, then something will happen. then
Okay.
probably I'll not talk to you. Then probably we'll fight or something, right?
Hmm.
What is this? This is a condition. If this, then this, right? Now coming back to the SOC world, coming back to the SIM world, a rule in simple word is this in itself, right? In SIM, what is the rule? That if something is seen like this, then trigger an alert for me, then
Okay.
send an email to me, right? Condition followed by some action. Okay. Let us take a technical example for this. If there is a field login, then there will be a count. Means how many? Okay, let me do one thing now. I'll open a notepad or something that would be easier to type, right?
Hmm.
So I'd open a text editor over here, okay, and try to increase in size. Okay. Now the condition is in terms of a rule. This is the most fundamental integrity of a rule in any SIM. If failed login, now I need to define how many failed login, right? Suppose 8. If there are 8 failed logins, okay, from same user or IP in, or I can say within 5 minutes, then what? Alert, it's a brute force. This is the most layman explanation I can give of any rule. And in any SIM I am saying. So rule is nothing but conditionals. That if this is seen, then alert it. Right? So here, this is a rule for brute force that if there are 8 failed logins from the same user or the same IP within 5 minutes, means it's a brute force.
True.
So in Wazuh, rules are again conditions. But the way Wazuh understand the rules is not directly in conditional statements. Okay. Even in Splunk, if you see, okay, in Splunk, how do we write a rule? The most layman term. If index is equal to when something, and there will be different fields, stats, count by, and something like that, right? Query type conditions, again in Splunk. But in Wazuh, rules are in the format of XML.
Okay.
And we have already discussed this XML part, right? When we were discussing why Wazuh is so popular, right? So XML is the way in which Wazuh understand the rules. So Wazuh rules are in the format of XML. Okay. And Wazuh rules are not direct conditions, but each and every event that you see, each and every event over here, okay, is triggered due to a rule, is triggered as part of a rule. And how do I prove this? If you go over here and if you see the rule ID 602601122. So what Wazuh understands is rule ID 60122 is a fail log. So any event that you see on Wazuh operates on a rule. Any event you see. So Wazuh, how does Wazuh know that this is a failed login? Because the rule says that 60122 is a failed login form. Okay. Now how Wazuh rules work in XML is there will be 60122 for failed login. Okay. Then there will be some 60 something, which will be the child of this. So failed login will be the parent. The child will be failed login, but due to why? It will define the why for you. Probably bad password. See, failed login can be due to multiple reasons. And then the third hierarchy will be 600 something, multiple failed login. This is the brute force. So the rules are divided in terms of an XML over here. Okay. And I will practically and technically explain this into the Wazuh console now. Okay. But before I even do that, let's see that whether Wazuh is triggering a brute force alert or not for us. Right? So what I'll do is I'll simply open the Windows box. See, bro, this is the beauty of learning any SIM tool, SOC tool as a beginner is people often confuse that, hey, if I need to learn an attack or a SIM or something, I also need a Kali machine. I'll, install Metasploit, MSF console and this and that. Do that. But what is a brute force? Most basic example. See, right now, I don't have any Kali Linux. I'm not using any attack tool, right? My purpose is to understand my logs. My purpose is to understand, okay, how this thing works into Wazuh. All I need to do is continuously do failed login attempts. Okay, you have entered incorrect pin several times. Okay, try enter this below. the PIN is incorrect. So I'm trying to authenticate multiple times and that too in a wrong way, right? Now what I'll do is, again I'll enter wrong PIN.
Wrong password has been entered.
Your PIN is entered too many PIN items. Try again. To try again, please reset your device, right? Now what I'll do is I'll just reset my Windows machine. Okay, I'll try to refresh this over here and see 5 hits are coming already. Okay, so the number of hits are already increased. I'll keep it over here as is. And all of this events.
But one more important thing, Urvesh, as by making a point, I can able to relate one thing, like when it comes to Splunk and all that, come with a specific limitation of logs and all that. So do we have kind of a things for the Wazuh?
No, there is no limitation of the logs, Prabh. But in Wazuh, you need to understand one thing, that by default, there are default settings in which Wazuh, takes the logs. Right now, Wazuh did not ask me that what kind of Windows logs you want to onboard. What if I have sysmon enabled? Wazuh did not ask me that you want sysmon or not, right?
Okay.
So there is a predefined basic template and a basic setting. Anything above and beyond you want to ingest from Windows, suppose you want to say that I don't want to log this, delete something from logging, exclude something from logging, or add something into logging.
Understood.
Probably say you want to add that, hey, I also want to monitor sysmon logs, right? That is something you need to configure separately again.
Okay.
And that is the case with any simple prop, like, additional logging you want in terms of your current infra, you need to configure it in that way. And even in Curadas, sysmon is not by default enabled. You need to enable the XML amount. Now see, my Windows is almost crashed because it's giving me too many field log items. Okay, the point over here is, see, right now my Windows is sending logs to Wazuh, but it's still not indicating that whether it's a brute force or not. It's only saying that, hey, this is a failed log, this is a failed log, right? Audit failure. Now you see, login failure, unknown bad user or password, 60122. Okay. Now let us understand this a bit more practically. Okay. 6 hits I got. Now my Windows is not allowing me, to do multiple logins. I'll still try to do a failed one. See, again, I need to reset it again and again until I reach a specific count, that, hey, X count I have reached for failed logins. Then and then only Wazuh will trigger a brute force attempt. Now I'm already at the 7th, okay? 7th count over here. Let us try 1 or 2 more times. I just want to see that at what count Wazuh is, blocking us right now. But the problem is that now my Windows is not allowing me to boot in because of so many failed log items. I'm into a VM, right? So it's going into the diagnosing mode and all, which I don't want it to go, ideally. Let us try to reset and see if it restarts instantly. Done. Now again it's asking me to enter a series. I'll enter some wrong pin. I'm again out of this. It will again throw an event on Wazuh. Okay. Meanwhile, this happens, I will again reset. So see, Prabh, I know this is a tedious process, a bit audience might feel, hey, I don't know what this guy is doing. But this is the most simple way that you try out in your own home lab without any Kali. You're just trying our own home brute force thing. Okay. Now again, I got 8 hits over here, 8 failed login attempts. Let me try for the one last time if something happens. Even if something does not happen, we just want to test that at what level Wazuh is giving me a brute force. Now this would be my 9th login attempt, failed login attempt, I mean. 9 hits, right? And let me try to expand this. If I see something different over here, an account failed to log in. No worries. Is there something I can see in the threat hunting dashboard? See, this is how you navigate your SIM and learn your tool better, right? Now you see login failure, unknown. All of this I'm getting. Now agent ID is 001 itself. I click on events. 9 authentication failures. It's given me a count right over here. Okay, I'll click on events. See, login failure due to bad username or password. Login failure due to bad username or password. Okay.
And I can see all the logs each and every attempt has been captured there.
Yes, each and every attempt has been successfully captured there. Now, this would be the one last time that I could reset it. Okay. And let us see. So what I'm trying to say is, as a beginner, what I did right now, I am just trying to test the efficacy of my logs or the tool, that it's already 9 failed login attempts. It's still not indicated a brute force for me.
Because you have not set that threshold, right?
Exactly. The meaning over here is the threshold is set somewhere in Wazuh rules, but we just don't know the threshold right now. What if we decrease the threshold and we then retry this, right? Then it might work. The reason I did this entire activity just to prove this point what you said, Prabh, right now, that the threshold is not set. These small nitty-gritties is something ignored by the people, or these small nitty-gritties is something a beginner should always learn and understand.
Okay.
Right? Now what I'll do is, this is where we explore a little bit of technical side now. So the Wazuh rules are there onto the server management in the rule section. Okay. This is how the Wazuh rules are divided. So see, each Wazuh rule, there are almost, so many 4,513 rules divided into different rule files in the XML format. Okay. So again, power of Wazuh.
Power of Wazuh.
So many rules. I'll tell you, Prabh, honestly, 90% of the audience find it difficult to learn Wazuh because of the rules, because of so many rules inside Wazuh. Okay. Now what I'll do is, I just simply open up an XML over here. Which XML I need to search is, where is my cursor? Let's suppose if I search Windows, does anything work? Does anything happen? No, nothing right now. Okay, no worries. What we can do is click on manage rule files over here. These are the rule files. Okay. Now, everything in Wazuh is stored somewhere. What I'm trying to say is, everything that you see on the dashboard, it's a file stored on your Linux box. Wazuh is running on Linux, right? So everything is stored inside a Linux box in Wazuh. That's the nature of Wazuh. So if I go to this page over here, right? Yeah, you see the local rules XML I have mentioned. Similarly, if I go into var, OSEC, etc rules, all of these files that you're seeing right now here are stored there in the Linux box. Wazuh works on file basis. Each and everything in Wazuh is a file that you will find in the Linux box. Excellent. Now, what if I search over here for, suppose, Windows? It's not there yet. No worries. Let me just try to do one thing. Let me just try to see if there's a different name. And you see the beauty of Wazuh. There are WordPress related rules. There are FTP related rules. There is, McAfee AV. Then there is Raccoon, VPN connector, Clam AV. So many related rules. Qualys Guard, Silence, Virus Total. I'll go to the page 2. Here it is. It's not with the name Windows, but it's with the name WinSecurityRules.xml. Right? I'll view this file. Okay. Now, this is a kind of a bit complicated thing, Prabh, and this is where Wazuh starts to get a little bit of, mind-wobbling, because if people don't understand the XML well, this is where they fail. But if you remember the previous podcast, Prabh, we enabled Sysmon. Sysmon's rule was again in the form of XML, right? So it's simple if you get the XML schema right away. Now see, as I was saying, right, that there is chain of rules in Wazuh. Everything in every event in Wazuh is a rule. We saw 60122, right? This ID applies for 60100 to 60599.
Sure.
Now, if I go into 60100, information, Windows informational event, right? Now, if I search for that exact rule ID that we saw in our log for failed login, granular Windows login 60122, what it says, if SID is 60105. Now see, Prabh, this is something interesting, might be confusing, but I'll try to break it down easily. This rule says that I will only trigger when 60105 is seen.
Agree.
It's a dependency. Now, what is 60105? Let us check that. Account currently disabled, login failure, account currently disabled. So 60105, okay, is seen over here. Okay, no, this is 6 FID, SSID is this. Okay, so let me just search for 60105 in general. What is the first event that I am seeing for 60105? Yeah, see, 60105 is simple Windows login failure. This is the parent rule. 60105 is Windows login failure. Simple. So see, we are following a schema right now. First Windows login failure, then why it was failed. It's a login failure, but why? That why is given by 60122.
Understood.
That is bad username or password. Okay. Now let us try to find what is the rule that is giving us the brute force. The very first thing that comes to my mind is multiple login failures. Let me search for the word multiple. Multiple. You see? Oh, multiple Windows login failures. In the third search, I got it directly. I didn't remember the name. I am a beginner. I am doing my job right now. This is how I am learning a SIM tool. Okay. Now you see, multiple login failures is seen. Authentication failed, multiple Windows login failures, and the rule ID is 60204. Okay, and one thing that I've added in the notes over here, let us go. Okay, see, default rule is 60204. I've added the same thing over here. Okay, now what it says that level 10 frequency is equal to MS freak. This is a threshold. And you might ask, Prabh, what is this? Here, frequency is defined with the name of a variable. Meaning, this MS underscore frequency might be used multiple times. Right? I mean, basic rule of any programming language, Prabh. If I say, frequency is equal to A10, frequency is equal to 10. Rather than doing this, what I do in programming is A is equal to 10, okay, and define, something like that. I'm just assigning a variable in short. What I'm trying to say is, so what they have done is they have assigned the frequency as a variable over here. Now, how do I find what's the count of this? Simple is, what I'll do is I'll simply copy this entire thing, okay? Or not even the dollar. I'll ignore the dollar. I'll just do ms underscore freq. Let us see what is the very first hit, right? What's the very first hit? I'll go back. Here we go. So what the number over here is 8, Prabh. So I'm asking you that what do you conclude on this now? What do you think? What's the meaning of this entire thing?
One thing I understood is that the file format and the context ID that we're using, it can be prioritized.
Yep.
And it can support the multi elements of functions.
Yep.
That is the most important thing. And if you're having this SID validations and all that can also be checked, right?
Correct. And the best part is people think XML rule format is so bad, it's so technical, but that's the most flexible way. That's the beauty of Wazuh, right? In terms of the rule right now, what do you see? MS frequency is 8. So, Prabh, what do you conclude? What is the meaning of this MS freak 8?
Good on me.
Okay, cool. So, I'll go back to that rule that we saw. What it was 60204, I guess.
Yep.
Correct? It says rule is 60204, level is 10, level is the severity. Level will decide the severity of the alert. Level 10 means high or critical. I think high. Okay.
High.
Frequency is MS frec. MS frec was 8.
Yeah.
In the first line itself. Time frame is 240. This is in seconds. Meaning, this rule, multiple failed login, means brute force, right? Will only trigger if there are 8 failed login attempts within 240 seconds.
True.
That is what the rule is trying to say.
And we also need to have a validation of how we are countering that and all that, right? Like as you said about logs and all that,
Yep.
we need to have an end-to-end high visibility of that also, right?
Absolutely. So that's the reason I was doing so many failed attempts right now. Why I did that first?
Because might be
let me
sometimes a
first
false
see whether
positive.
the event is there or not at the first
Sometimes
place.
a false positive also is there.
Exactly. So here, going back a little bit aside on now. So that's why, Prabh, if you see, I've clearly written that sharpen your mindset. Skills, when we say, develop a skill around a SIM, it's not that you learn a SIM blindly. It's that you sharpen your mindset around it, right? If you sharpen the mindset, skills will automatically follow you.
Exactly. And it is always start with boredom, Oh yeah, matlab, basics I will ignore because I have a rush to the topic. I have been a competition. So I always recommend the people also that okay, don't rush for the directly into the conclusion. Start with foundations. It's okay to copy everyone. That's completely fine. Because the day you copy everyone, you'll start learning.
Absolutely. Hence, I went into that notion, right? That 60100 failed, 60100 reason, and 601 for the brute force. Hierarchy-based tools are there, right? So, one thing you need to understand, Prabh, as we are discussing that, you should do the validation first. That it could be noisy, it could be false positive, or it could be the case. I am directly jumping onto the brute force without even validating whether the failed login attempt is coming properly or not. That's a monkey trap, clicking monkey I'm becoming, right? So one event is equal to noise, patterns is equal to signal, right? So you always remember this notion that in Wazuh or in any SIM tool, from an architecture point of view, you just have to onboard the logs. No, that's not the job of an architecture. That's not a job even of a beginner, even of a student while learning a SIM tool. The job is not to onboard the logs. Onboard the logs, today I'll give you the PDF steps, okay? That click on this button, click on deploy agent. Even anyone can do. We don't need to do a podcast at all.
Exactly.
Right?
The reason of doing that because to give the visibility. Yeah.
Exactly. The point is you understand your logs. Onboarding means you understand your logs. You understand your system. I said you fall in love with the logs. You fall in love with your Wazuh. You try to communicate. Okay, again a layman example. The guys really understand this. Whenever you like a girl or a boy, what do we do usually? We try to understand that person. What are the likes? What are the dislikes? What is the thing if I say the person will feel bad? What are the things if I say the person will feel good? Like and love your ecosystem now. If you have developed a home lab, feel connected towards it. Each and everything, explore it, fail it, restart your VM, delete your VM, reinstall Wazuh.
And that's how everything come with the validations, everything come with the perspective, how we are taking care, right?
Today, I can simply see a YouTube video on how you write a rule on Wazuh. I can copy paste. I can do the exact same step. It will work out for me. But what I have learned, the only thing that I've learned is how to be a clicking monkey.
That is which will not take you anywhere. Yeah.
Correct. So, the conclusion of how this rule worked for us is that in Wazuh, one event is equal to noise, more event is equal to pattern. Correlation is, see, what is the correlation? Multiple field logins from a same user. This is we already saw how the correlation is working. 60160 something. And content is who did it, from where, what, and how. Right? So always ask WH questions to your logs.
Okay.
The simple approach, if someone asks me that what is the difference between an alert or a message or a notif, I'll always say, if your alert does not answer who, what, why, when, and how, it's not an alert, it's a notification. Right? That's a notification. It's just like our phone, we get Swiggy, are you hungry right now? Please order a food. That's a notification.
Yes.
But what is the alert? Prabh has messaged me on WhatsApp, 12:30 p.m. We want to meet for a podcast. That's an alert. Who, what, why, and how.
Okay.
Same thing for a SIM also, right? That's a rule. That's the golden thing you should remember. So now coming back to this, we saw that, hey, this rule will only trigger when there is 8 times of failed login attempts. Right? Now, Prabh, as a beginner, what do you think? What any normal beginner will do is, we'll go over here. What you will say that Urvesh, just do one thing. Go up, go up where the MS frequency is defined, change the count from 8 to something whatever you want. Just change it. That's a big no. Moving one step ahead in technical, any rule that you see in Wazuh, you directly do not modify the actual main rule file. Never ever modify the rule file. Golden rule of Wazuh.
Yeah.
Why? Because these are vendor provided rule sets. You directly do not play around Wazuh or the vendor provided rule sets. Question is, what if even if I do? Because we are curious birds. Like, when we say don't do this, that's the first thing we are going to do now.
What is the reason? Yeah.
Right? So the point is, these are vendor defined rules. Whenever there's a Wazuh update, there's a chance that they can get overwritten. Or you lose the version tracking. This main parent rule, if I modify again and again, tomorrow if something breaks, who the person I'll get a catch hold of? That who changed this?
Oh, yeah.
Right? So always do one thing. Okay. If I search over here something called as local, can you see this? Local _ rules.xml. Prabh, this is the place where the detection engineers are there in Wazuh.
Okay.
Detection engineering or rule writing in Wazuh is usually not carried out into the main parent rule file.
An integration, yeah.
It is there into the custom rule file. How Wazuh works on this custom rule file is, Wazuh evaluates the rule in top-down fashion, top-down approach.
Operation to strategic. Yeah. Sorry, strategic to operations. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So top-down fashion means it will evaluate the local rules later. First, the default rules are evaluated. First, the vendor rules are evaluated. Then the locals rule will be evaluated.
True.
That's the approach. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to use the same example, brute force. But we are going to change this time. Instead of 8, we are going to change it to 3. Or even 2. Okay. I'll just log into my Windows first with a correct ID, so that now I can again brute force. Okay, I'm in my Windows machine now. Okay, now see how this thing works. As of now, I'll just copy this from this page. I'll go into this local rules.xml. I'll click on edit. I'll remove everything from here and I'll paste this part. Okay, now let's try to understand and break this down. What we are doing right now, we are actually being a detection engineer and writing a custom rule in Wazuh, which is overriding the current one. How did it override? Current one says 8. I'm overriding and saying I want 3. Okay. Now you are saying rule ID 100200. Prabh, your question would be why? My wife's birthday is on 21. Why not 21? Right? So the point is, again, in Wazuh, what happens? If I go to this page, I've noted everything, right? In Wazuh, there are around nearly 9,999 rules, something like that. That's the naming they follow. So right now also, what the rule ID we saw was 60102, 60204, right? So it's a normal thing that until 99999, these are vendor managed, internally organized, and not required to be followed by the users. Wazuh uses it.
Okay.
It's just like port, right? There are some ports that are fixed, and this range to this range are open to use for ports, right? So similarly, rules IDs are for humans and not for the engine. So at the end of the day, rule ID, this is for you.
And rule is directing the machines, right?
Yeah. Right. So you see, the nomenclature is all custom rules starts from 100 XXX, and then you can categorize it accordingly.
Sure.
So what I have done, I am categorizing that all the brute force related rules and defined 1002 XX. So 100,201 is brute force, 202 is some different kind of a brute force, and so on. This is how you categorize your rules in Wazuh. So always, when you're writing a custom rule, you start off with 100, XXX onwards, you can pick the series. That's what we are doing. So 100, 200 is what I've picked.
Okay.
Level is 12. Frequency, now you see over here. Instead of frequency is equal to ms_FREQ, I'm directly giving a number now, which is 3. And time is 120 seconds. Meaning how many minutes, Prabh? 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
So means within 2 minutes, if there are 3 failed login attempts, trigger a brute force.
Okay.
See? Authentication failed. If matched group, authentication failed. Now see, this part is important. You see this? If matched group, this part is going to correlate with the vendor related rule. It will go into that vendor related XML file, the vendor provided XML. So it will go that win underscore security was the XML. The group name is authentication failed. If you match that group, then apply over here, say that, hey, it's a brute force attempt. Custom Windows brute force detected. Mitre tech tactic ID. I can add more myself, tactic IDs and technique IDs.
So
I'll save this now.
yes.
Changes will not take place until a reload is performed. I'll do a reload. Okay. This is done. Let me just try to refresh it once. Done. Just for the sake of audience again, I'll go into the local rules.xml. I'll click on edit over here. This is saved. Okay. Now let us try to do the same experiment. I'll go into Discover tab now. I'll be on this tab. I'll keep my agent name is Windows 1. I just want Windows event. Okay, that's it. And let me just go back into my Windows box. What I'll do is I'll quickly log off. My first attempt, second attempt, third attempt, fourth attempt. I'm out. Okay. Let us wait now. Let us see if something happens. An account failed to log in. I'm getting this logs again.
Yeah.
Now you remember, Prabh, we did something. We manually defined the rule ID, right? 10200, right?
Yeah.
Let us see. It's not there yet. So what I'll do is I will add a filter saying that rule.id is 101002000. Save. Here we go. We have got a head. This is the custom rule that fired. Previously, we did 8 times failed login, but the time window was not matching, plus my windows were getting restarted, so we did not see a brute force. We overrided the rule. See, audit failure, Windows event channel,
Even from the first
custom,
attempt, right?
Windows brute force detected, 3 failures in 2 minutes.
Excellent. So it is. So the lesson here also that if you're creating custom rule, you have a more control, you have a more insights and all that.
Absolutely, you have more control, and you see now it's also the beauty of Wazuh. Though it was a custom rule, okay, it still is integrating with the other areas of Wazuh, such as the threat hunting panel. Level 12 and above alerts is 1, which is the one. If I click on the events now, see.
Interesting.
Though it's a custom rule, it is automatically syncing across different areas of Wazuh, such as the threat hunting page.
Understood.
Right? So overall, the conclusion for this exercise was that it's not about any SIM tool. You learn Splunk, QRadar, Wazuh Prabh, onboard, done, and okay, I learned. You cannot go and tell the interviewer, and you cannot write in your CV that I know log onboarding if you just deploy an agent to Wazuh and say, hey, I know what is onboarding. That anyone can do. Anyone can do. When I say I know onboarding means I know what is the log source I'm bringing in. I know what are the types of logs I'm bringing in. I know the sanity checks. I know the validation. I know how to exclude the things from that log source.
So
tomorrow as a manager, I say that I only want security and sysmon logs. I don't want application and system logs. You blindly followed the agent, copy pasted the command, entered. Agent is throwing the logs. How do you remove the logs now? How do you tell the agent I don't want
impossible.
this? So you cannot tell you do onboarding only, you just bring the logs to your SIM. That's not onboarding. That's like bringing noise.
And it does not work like that actually. Yeah.
No. How do you denoise it? People in industry are already, facing headache due to the noise. Companies are getting 2 terabytes of data per day.
So
They want to eliminate the noise. They want to strategize the noise and focus on what is important. That is what you call as onboarding. Then you say, hey, I know onboarding.
understood.
Right? Reaching towards the conclusion, Prabh, because every audience just also waits for one simple thing, that is the interview, right? In Wazuh, there are a lot of interview questions on Wazuh you find, Prabh. But what is my approach when you crack interviews for Wazuh or Splunk or any SIM tool? Is do not mug up the questions that are there on the internet, right? Do it practically. See, as an interviewer, what is my question in Wazuh? What is a decoder? What is the format of rules in Wazuh XML, right? Now I say I know onboarding. I'm like, okay, you know onboarding? That's great. Then I ask the person who's giving the interview. I'm the interviewer, right? So I ask the person that, okay, you know onboarding? Yes, I know onboarding. I say, how do you onboard Windows logs? The guy will say, I'll go to the agent, I'll copy the command, I'll run PowerShell as an admin, and the Wazuh, I'll do net start Wazuh agent. Windows log is onboarded. My very next question would be, I only want to onboard SysMon logs.
Understood.
I give a situation. The person is blank. Right? So how do you answer these questions? How do you answer situation-based questions? One thing that I have always seen beginners come and ask me that, hey, I got this situation question. I got this scenario-based question. I answered this. First of all, you cannot mug up a scenario-based question. Scenario-based question is for your intellects, your on-spot training, right? You cannot mug up a scenario-based question.
Bro.
Right? One guy come and asked me that a scenario was given me for a brute force itself. I said, some interviewer gave me a scenario that if there is an alert, what will you do? If there's a brute force alert, what will you do? So he learned everything, I will, isolate the endpoint. I will do this. I'll do that. I'll, see the logs. I'll do a forensic investigation. My very next question was, you said isolate endpoint. What if the endpoint is a DC? How can you isolate it? Your entire business will be down.
Stuck.
Alright? So never mug up scenario-based questions. Perform scenarios to get better at scenario-based questions. Give that scenario to yourself in real world. If I'm giving you a scenario-based question, Prabh, that how do you onboard only SysMon logs in Wazuh and drop everything else? If you have not practiced the scenario yourself, how can you answer the scenario in an interview? It's not possible. So for any type of tool, if you are giving interviews, there are a lot of scenario-based questions which a person can ask you, the interviewer can ask you. Try to throw up as many scenarios on yourself in the practice first.
And that give the insight also, because you can able to correlate.
Right. So now, if anyone asks me in an interview what is a brute force in Wazuh, I can easily tell. I have did it myself right now. I did it 9 times. I searched the rule ID. I created a custom rule. I can easily answer it. Right? Again, one scenario-based question, Prabh. There are 100 Windows machines in our environment. Okay? 30 are domain controllers, 70 are Windows endpoints, user endpoints. How can I differentiate the rules from those 30 to those 70? Means I want different rules to be applied for those 30 and different rules to be applied for those 70. Windows machines only. All on our Windows 11, all are same version. Now, this is where the person understands that, hey, I remembered a concept about the log group when I deployed the agent. There was a log group which was default. But what if I create? My next answer would be to the interviewer that, hey, sir, ma'am, what I can do is I can create a log group. I can add those 30 DCs into one log group, says DC log group. Those 70 into a different log group, says endpoint log group. And then I can create different rules for DC log group and I can different rules for endpoint. And I'm past the interview. The interviewer is impressed.
And that is why we said, that's why the people are saying that, okay, we need to have an interview question videos. So when can we have that session?
Anytime you say Prabh. I mean, see, as I said, Coffee with Prabh, it's like for me the best show ever. Anytime you give a call to me, I'll be there for you. I'll be there for the audience.
Thank you. And our next podcast will be on the interview prep, definitely, because that can
Perfect.
give a lot of insights uh, uh, to the people about how prepare for the interview, not only theory.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So overall, Prab, this is what the conclusion of all of this Wazuh podcast we did simply is again going back to that diagram that there is gilly gilly synfem. There are vendors everywhere. There is so much of tools, resources everywhere. As a beginner, it's natural to feel overwhelmed and
Sure.
confused from where to start, what to start. Even if you decide that I want to start at Wazuh, but what, where? So I hope this podcast gave them some direction. And the purpose of this was not to teach Wazuh, but the purpose was this that how do you start learning a tool, be it any tool. As a beginner, this is how I started learning Wazuh.
And I really feel so good because when you said about the content correlations and all that, it was really amazing, to be frank. Because the best thing about I like about this podcast, what I did is I'm going with a lot of learning, which I'm going to follow.
Yeah. And that's true. And again, a message for beginners: like you will feel overwhelmed. Perhaps today you go on LinkedIn, there are people out there who are integrating Wazuh with MCP agents, who are creating their own Wazuh MCP. They write on WhatsApp that how many alerts are there, and Wazuh MCP will reply on WhatsApp that these many alerts were there. That kind of integrations are going on. And even me, who is there in this field since a long time, even I see that and I feel, oh shit, I'm so behind, man. What's going on into the world right now? Where the heck I am, right? It's very natural to feel overwhelmed. But you yourself can say, after so long experience of as a CISSP, there still will be time that you might yourself feel overwhelmed.
Yeah,
when you look at
definitely.
the people.
No doubt, definitely.
So
Definitely.
it's natural to feel overwhelmed. It's always about go at your own pace and fall in love with the tool. Right? Don't rush. If someone is integrating MCP and Wazuh, don't try to copy paste it just because you want to add it into your resume. You will be trapped into the interview then. Right? So that's the approach. Learn Wazuh in this way. Start with the tool. Explore the basics. Explore the nitty-gritties. Do it yourself. Place scenarios in front of you and not theoretical. Practically place scenarios. Right? We place the scenario, what if I cleared the screen and I forgot my password? Practical scenario. Right? You are automatically preparing from an administrator level that, hey, how to reset a Wazuh password. Right? Place yourself in practice. Create problems for yourself so that interviewer does not create problem for you in the interview.
True.
That's the approach. That's the game. So, with this prep, I hope this was an interesting one, and I'm open to any questions that you have now.
Not me, but if we have if you see the comments and all that, I'm sure the comments will be amazing after this particular session, and we're looking forward for more podcasts from you, Urvesh.
Definitely.
We'll have a next time is Coffee with Urvesh.
No, that's again today also I have my coffee ready.
That's great. Thanks, Urvesh. Thank you so much, and I'm sure it will rock.
I am expecting a banger response on this one as well, Prabh. And I'm sure this one was a bit more technical than what we usually do. It's like more nitty-gritties for the more technical set of an audience, probably. But I'm sure the beginners also will enjoy this. We'll learn all of this. And the comment section is always open. Prabh sir's LinkedIn is always open. My LinkedIn is always open. We are open to feedback also, not just appreciation, but feedback as well. So feel free. And thank you so much, Prabh, again for inviting me. It was a wonderful podcast, and I'm happy that I'm ending my year with you. So
thank you.
It's really grateful for me.
Thanks, Urvesh. It means a lot. And guys, this is all from our side. And there's no words to express, Urvesh. It's a weekend time. You're a family guy, but taking out the time for the people, giving back to community is a big thing. And we're looking forward for your comments also, because your comments are important, which help us to improve our video. And if you're new to the channel, do subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to make sure you should not miss the future videos. Along with that, I'm also sharing a Urvesh YouTube link in the description box. This guy is going to be a game changer in the SOC, and I'm looking forward for his videos on the YouTube channel. And most probably by next year, I will be the speaker in his show. If you don't know, this is how the life, this is how the things, and I will be privileged to be part of that. But thanks, everybody, taking out the time. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, my honor. Thank you so much, Prabh.